this is the video version of the Tiffnessfitness podcast. This is episode 3, but it's actually the first one I'm recording a video intro for, because this is the one that was still on my computer, and I haven't re-downloaded the old ones that are 1 and 2. I'm still figuring it out, obviously. So if you want like a much more scripted intro spiel, just go listen to the other versions of this podcast. I will be putting all the same show notes in, so you all have that, and I hope this is good. I'm probably not going to even do an outro, but if you have questions or if you have comments, if you have people you want me to interview on this show or talk to on the show, because this is more of a conversation than an interview, let me know in the comments, and I don't know, maybe I'll figure out how to make this seamless and nice at some point, but today's not that day.
Oh, sorry. Am I cutting you
off?
Go
ahead.
Okay.
No, you're good.
So sort of like how I was saying, there's like a bunch of different silos of training for kettlebells, right? Yeah. And like communities, right? Like there's the strong first forms, right? And that's its own place. Dragon's Door it's not really a thing anymore. I'm trying to think. There's the Reddit, right? There's Instagram. And I think like above all, like the best community is the Reddit one. I think that sometimes, we
got to make sure we're sharing this onto the Reddit so everyone knows that we're talking good about them.
Yes, exactly. Because so essentially what happened was the way that I got into kettlebells like big time was I was a CrossFitter like 5-6 years ago, and I was like into it. Like I was on Invictus, like I was doing their athlete programming, like I loved CrossFit. And then randomly, and everybody's going to be like, oh, it's because of CrossFit, I tore my knee. And I didn't just like tear my knee, like I blew my knee up, like grade 3 ACL tear, all the meniscus are messed up and everything. And so I ended up getting knee surgery, and I kind of stopped working out. And then COVID hit, right? And yeah, I know. So just like the worst thing. But I did manage to get 2 32-kilo kettlebells. Like that was the thing that I got, 2 32-kilo kettlebells. And I was pretty strong, right? Because like as a CrossFitter, I think I had push pressed 190. I can't remember exactly what my numbers were anymore, but I was able to press the 32s. Not a lot, but I was able to press them. Yeah. So I would just I would put on like anime music, like in my little like apartment that I had in Los Angeles when I lived there. And I would do like 100 swings as fast as I could. And then as many presses, like I was just training like a CrossFitter. You know what I'm saying?
The anime music, that's really effective too.
I mean, if you've watched, that's all that I listened to. And then sort of what happened after that was, like during the middle of the pandemic, I ended up moving to a place that had an outdoor like place. Like we had a patio. And so
I can see it because I've seen it in a lot of your videos.
Yeah. And so I was like, let's just do it. So I ended up buying like it's a 49, but I bought a 48, like 2 KB USA kettlebells, like in an air bike that was like $300, weighted. And I went to town. And so I got really into kettlebells because that was like the only thing keeping me sane, like during the height of the pandemic, and running. And so I ended up going from like 250 to I think 199 pounds. And that was like the big thing. And then when I ended up moving to New York, because I moved to New York, I like it way better than Los Angeles. I can't stand Los Angeles. I got back into a gym, and I did some like hybrid competitions where I was like running and powerlifting at the same time. But I ended up kind of being like, it was actually Beth. Do you know Beth? I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Boreki, I think that's
who we talk about, old-timey strongman lifts all the time.
Yeah, exactly. This is, by the way, I'm sorry for telling such a long story, but this is how I got into strongman. She sent me a competition flyer. And she was like, oh, I think that you would be like really good at this. Like you should try it. And it happened to be on the anniversary of my mom's passing. She passed away February 13th. And so I was like, okay, like, let's do it. Like, I'm just going to go all in. And I'm like a very all in type of person when it comes to training. Like, I don't believe in half-assing thing. So I was like, let's do it. So I went from like 199 to like 235 in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Like, just like the craziest bulk of all time. Like my numbers started shooting up and stuff. And I fell in love with it. Like I did the competition. I was like, I love it. So now I still do a lot of conditioning work. Like my heart rate's like 47 or something like that. Like it's very low. But I do strongman. And I compete in strongman, but I use mostly kettlebells for my upper body stuff. I feel like it's kind of been my like distinguishing thing a little bit.
I don't know, whatever you've got. I mean, all I've got is just like my collection of things. I got most of my clothes prior to shutdown because the gym that I trained at and coached at shut down. Got shut down October 2019. So when they shut their gym down, they sold everything off, and I basically was like, just take my last paycheck and I'll just, and then I ended up paying a couple extra bucks, but like I didn't get my last paycheck. I just put it to kettlebells.
That's smart though. Like it's a big investment. Like, I'm not the biggest.
And they were selling them super cheap. Like it was like 75 cents on the pound or something.
Yeah, you'll never see that again.
See that again. So it was like freaking time. And that's how I got, I would say 70% of my bells. I got like a lighter mace. I got my clubs, sandbag, and
yeah, you've got a setup. You've got a setup.
I actually wasn't gonna get a sandbag, but my husband likes rucking. So he popped it in his bag. And when he was training,
is it a strongman one, or is it like the kind where it has a handle? Yeah,
it's right there.
Okay, it's like a Go Ruck one. Yeah.
It's really like but what he does is he puts it in his little army backpack. That's probably not how to refer to it. Sorry.
No, that's a good exercise. Yeah.
But he puts it in his little army bag, and we do that.
He goes after it.
Yeah, he just goes for a little walk.
Really,
I
noticed you have a setup. I was surprised. So when you were going for the 48 kilo bench press, I was surprised you didn't have them. I thought that you would have them. You had to go to the gym. I mean, that made it even more epic, right?
Yeah, it was. There's no way. That was the big thing. Is like I couldn't find the bell, so I kind of. That gym actually isn't owned by the guy who I knew, but he had messaged me. I was doing stuff with him on his kettlebell league, and I was like, can I just like come up and check out your gym maybe? Right. Like, let's see what it looks like and see what you've got. Because I was looking on the bases because I live on a base. At all the base gyms, they don't have a bell that heavy, and I was like, shit. So I went up there. He had a 48, and I was like, hell yeah. And then I have the other thing I got.
Yeah, you have. Is it a kettle chip?
Was these guys with this is a visual, but my one.
You hit the 50, right?
Yeah, that's how I got to 50. And that's how I did it. And now
so you're 6 kilos off, right? Or you're 7 kilos off of setting. An all-time recorded record.
The all-time record is made by a woman in I don't actually know the date, but like an old.
Her name's like Louise Serafina, right, or something like that.
I think it's Kate Miriam Williams. And her record, the only authenticated record I can find, is 56.5. Delilah, get out of here. And
how do we know it's authenticated? Because obviously it's not recorded. Like, is there it was in a competition or something?
I guess actually Beth is the one who tagged me
I've seen the post too.
Yeah, I was on some sort of strength training plague of I don't remember who page
Secrets of Strength or something.
And I was like, oh my god. And I've been looking because I talked to other people who do strongman type stuff, and they're there's guesses that the great Sandwina did her pushing her husband over her head, that that might be a bent press. It could also just be a jerk.
Right.
Because I feel like when you see the old bent pressers, there's always a picture of them bent pressing. There's always
the bent press was very cool.
in that
it was really in,
It's it's a very cool picture, and I mean it is still a very cool picture. So I think that if they had done a bent press for those big lifts, that it would have been there would have been there would have been a record of it. There would have been some sort of thing of it. So at this point, that's what I'm working with, and that's also very doable.
I mean, the thing is, that's crazy though. So that means you're already technically the record holder, the video recorded record.
I'm the only living woman at this point. That's how I phrase it. Is I'm the only living woman. I hold the living record, I guess.
Right.
On
the
bent press.
Projected time for when you're going to go for just all time to best?
So right now I have another month or so maybe by the time this comes out.
Wait, you're a month away?
No, not for the 50-56, but with the barbell. I'm going to try to tie up with the barbell. That's my big thing. I really want to hit 48-50 with the barbell because it's just so much freaking harder. So I basically, this program has been a year long with breaks because of life and COVID and other training. But I basically I took a break, but after I did my 50K, I shifted everything to barbell, which is not really how that's supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to just keep chugging along with what you're supposed to be chugging along with. I changed it all, so all my numbers kind of dropped back down because it's really hard to lift a barbell.
The stability requirement is really high, right? Because you don't want to rotate your wrist too much.
Yeah, it's not even like mobility, and it's like balancing the bar, and it's an entirely different training stimulus. So like my limiting factor a lot with the kettlebell bent press was that pressure on the wrist. Like holding 50K on my hand was hard. So I got like kettle guards. I have some. I got we won them at the same time. We won them, because they had sent me some before that, and I wasn't really using them for sport so much because that's their intended purpose, but I used them as just to like give my wrist and forearm a little something. But now it's more I use wrist wraps to help.
That's what I use. I use wraps.
So I use the wrist wraps.
So like in strongman, you've heard of the circus dumbbell, right?
Yeah, I want one.
It makes sense because windmills with them are cool. So the circus dumbbell, I had it in my last competition. And I was like really bad at it. Like for some reason, my just overhead stability sucked and everything. But also the pain, like right here, was really, really bad. And I was like, man, like I was trying to use kettle guards and bring them down. And then one of my friends who competes, because I'm not equipment averse, but like I just like trying to. I like trying to figure it out without the equipment and then adding it out.
Yeah, same. Like I don't want to rely on equipment.
Exactly.
My thought. Like I don't want to like when I'm coaching people with sport and like belts, I don't want them to get a belt for their first 10-minute set of long cycle. I want them to know how to do it without the belt first.
Right. That way you have it on deck. It's like you learn the fundamental skills. I mean, I coach a lot of people in like some strength type stuff or sort of like multiple modalities, and like I sort of give that advice to when it comes to like, you know, like a stiff belt. Just like, oh, you know, like let's get some practice without it so that you learn how to brace. I don't necessarily think that it makes for lifting and makes your core weaker. I just think that it's a good habit to build to learn how to lift beltless.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But going to the circus dumbbell and even like the bigger kettlebells, like I agree. That's one of the reasons why like I'm such a big advocate for competition kettlebells. And also like wraps for like protecting yourself against like the circus bells, because I noticed the kettle guards weren't doing it, so I had to get wrist wraps, and then I had to double wrap elbows over me so that I could like press, because or else it feels like it's gonna snap your arm in half. And the bigger bells also feel like that. Like you were just talking about the double 48, so I was going for the double 48 press since after my competition, right? Like after my competition in January, I was like, I need to hit double 48, and so I just like full in went on it. But the thing is those bells that I have, they're like old school perform better ones. I don't know if you've ever seen them. They're horrible. Like they're made of ice, so you can barely grab them, right? But then even the window is like this big, and then the bell is like this. It's garbage. So it hurts. Like I have to wear wrist wraps on them because it feels like it's gonna snap my wrist back. And like that's one of the things. That's why, like I said, I like comp bell so much too, is because it's all a standard uniform. Like I don't want to odd lift every single time I do like a strength movement. But like the hard style bells, they all do that once you get over 32.
They're all weird and big, and it's not consistent also, which is a pain in the ass.
Have you ever bent pressed a 36? Have you tried it?
Yeah, I have.
36, 30. Oh, do you have a comp bell?
No, but I don't have, my bells only go up to 32. So when I did my first 36, it was with the hard style. Fury in San Diego. I was like the big. I did a 36 right before I moved out here, right before COVID hit, actually. And then when I was like training it, I was basically bent pressing 36 for like reps. It was a big shitty guard style bell.
I was just about to ask if you agreed, because the 36 is actually my least favorite kettlebell. The 36 hard style, because nobody makes them right. Nobody makes the 36.
They're all weird.
Yep.
They're all weird.
They have like a 32 window.
For my attempt that I got to use just a sport bell. It was really, because the gym I went to was a sport gym.
I noticed. Gold.
So it was really, really nice, because I know where my hand needs to be in a sport bell. But with a hard bell, I don't know. Like it could be anywhere depending on the fucking bell.
Right. Did you see the video? You saw the video of me pressing the 48s, right? Did you see the one with fail, with the 2 fails that I had?
Is that the one you posted yesterday, like 10 hours ago?
No, to Reddit. So
right.
I posted to Reddit.
On Reddit today.
No worries. So if you check it later, like you'll see that I racked them wrong at first, and I couldn't even get them off my chest. And then I racked it right on my second attempt, and it flew off my chest. Like that doesn't happen with sport bells. So like I completely agree. Like they're too big. Like I don't like them.
You don't have to be, because clearly they can fit into this size. Like
yes, but you already know, like there's some sort of like machismo, like tough guy.
They really like
going on.
They feel they really like a big bell. It makes them feel cool.
Yeah, it's horrible. I hate it. But even there's something that I was gonna say. Oh, so do you have you don't have any pro kettlebell stuff, right?
No, I have Kettlebell Kings and Kettlebell USA bell that I won once.
Kettlebell King's having a bit of a tough time, but Pro Kettlebell, he was telling me I think he's about to put a 48 soon on the market. He's just trying to figure out how to size it properly, use the right material.
Yeah.
I've decided, because I've been considering, spending the money to get double 48 comp bells, because I'm going to get to the point where I can press them for reps, just like my 41s or whatever, or 43s with the Pro Kettlebell chips. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not going to be doing double huge ones, right? And I was telling him, I was like, I'm going to save my money for it, because that's like, to me, I've never touched one. I can just look at it and I'm like, this is the best bell on the market. Like,
I haven't used a Pro Kettlebell. I've heard really good things about them though.
Look at them. They look beautiful. Like they look
nice. I got all my bells on discount, and that's how
I mean, like 75 cents to the pound is like,
there's no beating that. And also I'm going to be moving. I move every 3 years. I don't want to. No idea. Good question. Well, I assume at this point they're going to be like, just start driving and we'll tell you when you're on your way.
I believe that. I had one of my good best friends in college. Her dad was in the military too. So, they move like all around to like Omaha, random places, like just places I've never heard before.
Because usually you can narrow it down by like job, but my husband's job is at every single base and any place that an Army person is, so we could end up anywhere.
Yeah, you could be in Florida, North Carolina, you could be anywhere.
You could be in Korea or Germany, like.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, if you go to Japan, let me know, because I've been trying to. Well, I wanted to go to the Olympics. That was like my dream.
Actually, for a while, my brother was in Japan for a while.
Where did he go?
He was in. I couldn't tell you. Wherever the Marine base is in Japan, that was where he was for a few years. And he flew his now wife out there for their second date.
Wow, that's so romantic.
Yeah, he came back on leave, and he came back for like 2 weeks for leave. They went on a date because he really wanted to go to a fancy steakhouse. She was my sister's dance teacher, and hopefully this is fine when I'm saying this on the internet and for everyone to hear. Sorry, Danny. And then like several months, and then they didn't go, like they just stayed out and they hung out all night, and they fell in love, and then the next day
that's romantic.
In Japan, and then they went out to Japan and experienced Japan for a second day.
That's like, do you like Shawn Mendes? You know who Shawn Mendes is?
Yes. Yeah.
He's got that song Lost in Japan, right, or something like that. That's kind of what it's like. You got to check out the lyrics and send it to him, because he might really relate to it. I'm like a big.
I will.
I don't think really. Sorry.
I don't think. Oh, I was like, I don't think there's any Army bases in Japan, so I don't think we would end up out there.
I know there used to be.
I think it's just Marines and Navy.
Okay. That would make sense.
And unfortunately, my darling husband chose the wrong branch, so we don't ever get to be on the beach. I really wish he would have been in the Navy, and then I would have been on the ocean all the time.
Like the standards are like wicked different between different ones, right? I don't know anything about
it. Yeah, Marines are going to be the harder one.
Oh, really?
Always. That's their thing, is that they're like hard asses.
Really?
The Army and Navy aren't like super far off. That was actually when I first started running. When I first started working out again, I went and I hit all the running standards. Like I got the best running standard on all of the military PT tests.
On like the 1.5. Right? It's like
well, 2 miles for Army, it's 1.5 for Navy. I don't know what it is.
Okay. What's the 2 mile? How do you max it out?
I have no idea anymore.
You don't remember.
It's also changed because now it's not just because it used to be push up, sit up, run. Now it's trap bar, deadlift, plank, push up, sprint drag carry, an overhead throw, and then a run. So like the times are a little less now, or like or more. You have more time because now you're doing all the other stuff before, because the runs.
The trap bar dead is like super weird though. Like I feel like all of their standards are like pretty good, and then the trap bar deadlift, it's like 350 for 3 to like max out the test or something. Yeah,
I don't know. My husband maxes out on the deadlift all the time, just like for shit. He's really good at exercising. He does not like doing it. He's also like push-ups when he was getting back in, we were just like testing his like bases, like to like make sure where he was for push-up and sit-up, because that's what it was at the time. And he just whipped out like 70 push-ups or something stupid after not training. And I was like, it was like when I was like training push-ups, like I was like practicing push-ups every day, and I was like, I could do 15, and
that's he was like, though. That's a lot.
It was a lot. But he was just like, he was just like, whatever, I could just do this all day.
You should show him how to do like the Dennis, the Vasilev push-ups, right? Where he's like,
like
he blocks out his arms each time. You should teach him how to do those.
Well, he only trained, he's trained specificity, with the little stupid arm. They tee out.
Yeah, where you shoot your arms out real quick.
Yeah, or you can go slow now, so that can be your rest. So you do your push-ups and then you go.
Oh, come on.
Because there's no time limit now. You just do it until you stop, until you're.
Until you feel it.
Mm-hmm. So he can do forever. So at that point, though, his the limiting is like your like deltoids, because you're going out.
You get tired, right? That's like an isometric contraction.
So it's a different training stimulus. But all of his training, like I posted a video on my stories a week ago. It was like last week, I guess. I was doing 30 seconds of jerks, and he was doing 30 seconds of push-ups. And he was just doing his little push-up.
You sport athletes, I've done one true sports set, like ever. I did a 24 kilo 1-arm half marathon for a competition called the Crucible.
Mm-hmm.
And I not only did I gain the deepest respect for you guys, but also I don't think I have the emotional resiliency to pull off.
The mental strength to finish a 10-minute set is a thing that I really, really coach when I'm doing stuff. Like I talk about having a plan, and we have backup plans in case everything, and like ways so you don't get in your own head, because you can be very, very strong and then also not be able to finish a set because your brain tells you no.
Yep.
So you have to be able to
do it with 16s. Like I think if you were like, hey, I'll give you $10,000 right now if you can pull off a 10-minute long cycle set with 16s, I do that.
I could do it with 24s.
Yeah, well, I could go like this. Like maybe I could just stand like this the entire. But if you give me an RPM, give me 10. There's no way I would get cooked. I can't do.
Oh yeah, no, not with 10 reps.
Maybe 10. That's really fast. Maybe like 8. Maybe like 8. I just I've messed around with it. Like I've done some double long cycle with 24s for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I don't quit because this is an RPE 8. Like let me drop it. No, I quit because I'm like I can't do this. Like I'm too weak.
RPE 12. Like my body.
Yeah. Well, I get filled. I don't know if you relate to this. I got when I did the 1-arm cycle, when I got to 22 minutes, I was filled with dread. Like I was like, there's no way 8 more minutes of this is left.
Yeah.
Like there's in the video of me, I literally I go like this, and I'm about to catch it with my other hand, and I go no. It's literally the most anime thing ever. I'm like, no way, I can't do it. But I wanted to so bad. I just it was so painful.
So hard. When I was on a team, there was people on it I don't want to say names or anything because I don't think any of them lift anymore. But there's people who are stronger than me who didn't finish sets that I was doing, and only because they couldn't mentally get in it. And they would put the bells down, and you're like, man, you're strong. You're stronger than me, but your brain is not in that game.
But also strength is and I tell this to a lot of my clients. I also am a 5th grade teacher. I don't know if we talked about that. I teach 5th grade gym, and to my clients and also to the 5th graders that I teach, I try to teach them strength is a very it doesn't mean what most people think it means, right? When people think of strength, they think of like a deadlift, right? They think of almost powerlifting style, like what's the most you can throw your head? Exactly. But like strength endurance, right? Strength speed, right? There's like all kinds of different ways to be like very impressive athletes.
Yeah.
And like maximal strength is only like one way of demonstrating one's strength, right? It's literally called that. It's called absolute strength.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
But then you have like different kinds, like kettlebell sport athletes. Like if you put up Dennis Vasilev, I can't necessarily substantiate this because maybe he's just never tried. But I would guess that if you gave 232-kilo kettlebells to Dennis Vasilev and 2 to Brian Shaw, Dennis Vasilev is going to do more long cycle in 10 minutes than Brian Shaw can.
Oh yeah, I guarantee it. I can.
But like that is like so mind bending to think about because Brian Shaw has like he's push pressed like a 311-pound seer dumbbell before, right? Like the guy is just he's a tank, right? But Dennis Vasilev, or you could insert like Ksenia, right? Like you could insert any like major sport athlete. Like they're just the next level. And I think that sport is tough.
And there's a whole lot of different things going into it because not only are you doing like strength and cardio, endurance, but also your mobility is a thing. Like I think a big thing for those big guys who are super strong, they're not going to be able to get into a rack position, and then also be able to use their hips the way that we do as sport athletes for their jerks, because it's different than any other style. Like when I'm coaching new people in the sport, I'm like, this is weird. Like the way that we're moving our body and the way that we're putting ourselves in these positions, this is a weird, very specific place we're putting ourselves. And that's okay if it doesn't feel natural. It will at some point. It's going to take about 100,000 reps, but it will at some point feel more natural. But right now, when you're learning how to be in this position, it's not going to feel normal because this is the only place that you're going to lock your elbows into your gut, onto your hips, and then use those elbows to help push yourself up.
Throw you. Well, it's like, because I'm a big like follow success where it leads, right? So like I am pretty agnostic about my training style. I mean, we haven't talked about it too much. Like I'm RKC2, right? I also have I have a bunch of other certs that not important to mention, right? Whatever, who cares? But like I'm an RKC2. So I think a lot of people like expect me to be like perfect hard style training, but like I feel like and I don't know if you feel the same way, like hard style training is like a tool, and but it's also very limiting as a tool, right? Like I have found that when I use it as like a technique, so like a hard style kettlebell press, I get more out of it than when I treat it like a primary modality. And that's because maybe I'm gonna, if anybody's listening to me saying this, maybe they're gonna get mad or something like that.
I don't think this is gonna get a whole lot of reach, so we're probably safe since we're in the first episode.
Or maybe it's gonna blow up. You never know. But like the hard style system is like trying to turn a system into a sport itself, right? Like when people train and like really obsess over their hard style training, and they're talking about like different ways to like tactically snatch or to like do like a no scapular retraction snatch or something like that. Like you are optimizing something that's just for general fitness. It doesn't make sense, right? Whereas like if you look at sport athletes, everything that a sport athlete does is to get better at their sport, right? Yeah. So like when they do things
hard style comp, so there probably should be.
There are some, like the TSC, I guess, but
not like they're not like a whole thing though.
yeah, exactly. No, I agree. And so I guess sort of what I'm saying, like the point that I'm trying to get to here is like there are uses to hard style, but it's more of like a technique. I kind of compare it to like a Larson press versus a bench press. Like if you want to only Larson press when you bench press, that's fine. But don't say to other people that the only way for you to progress is to only Larson press. Like if you want a comp style bench, whatever, that's also fine. And so when I adopted that mentality and I started studying, and like I've read Vasilev's book, like I've watched his tutorials, like, you know, even though my form looks like terrible most of the time, I'm kind of a student of the game. You know what I'm saying? And my press has like exploded since I watched what the sport rack looks like. And I watched what the bumps look like and stuff like that. Because I learned that you can push your hips forward and you can press and the bell stay over your hips. Yeah. Until you get through. Right. Yeah. And I sort of adapted that into the press.
You're tucked in and using your whole. Yeah. It's cool.
No, it's sick. Like I love sports stuff, just not good at it.
It's so specific. So like that's the other thing is when I'm like it's such a specific movement and such a specific style, and it's going to be specific to each person because the way our bodies are built is going to be a little bit different. So like the way that I do long cycle or snatch is going to be different than the way that Dennis, no one snatches like Dennis, or like Joe Daniels, who's like a freaking giant dude. The way that our techniques are going to be different just by the fact that our bodies are built different. And I think that's so fucking cool. It's how to adapt each person's body to the sport versus adapting your body to how the stringent type of rules, which is what I feel like hard style very much is. At least like the people who are like hardcore, like spiritually hard style.
No, and I agree. Like, and it's something that like the more I've trained, like the more I've gotten through it, and then whatever. If I'm just gonna go in, I might as well go in. Like, I think another thing that happens too, especially in the hard style world, is, and like I got my RKC 2 years ago, so it's not like I'm like this old school, like RKC since like freaking 10 years ago or 12 years ago or something. But there's a lot of like RKC 1 double 24 kettlebell press. Do you get what I'm saying when I say that? Like, there's a lot of form critique because the hard style, and part of the benefit of it is it's so prescriptive, and the kettlebell community is so young, right, in terms of like its development, and there's a lot of like systems and stuff that are coming up. Like you're saying that there's not a lot of kettlebell podcasts. That's true. There's a million barbell ones though, right? Like kettlebells just need time to cook. Do you get what I'm saying? And so
find its people.
and they exist. Like people love this type of content. Like you can see in the Reddit, like the Reddit's huge. It's got like 170,000 followers. But like I was saying, sorry. So there's a lot of like beginner level RKC ones that I think like should be getting more time to cook, just working at a personal training gym and like getting in reps, like working with clients. Because the more people work with other people, I think in most cases, the less prescriptive they become about movement assignments.
Yeah.
Right? Like once you see like a 70-year-old person try to press, it's going to change your perspective on things, Yeah.
I think it's important to like, I don't like the like dogmatic rules in there. Like there's like the way that people are going to lift is going to look different for their bodies, and the way that people want to lift is also different. Because like personally, I don't want to do I don't want to do the hard style swing all the time. Like I'd like it, and it's good for me. But also I really like doing like a sports style snatch, or I like juggling, and nobody likes that.
Why? I don't understand. I don't understand why people don't like flows, and I don't understand why people don't like juggling, because these are the two things that people. Like, is it like a guy thing? Like, is it just like a guy being a dude thing that we don't like the more flowy stuff? Or
the most hate I've gotten from juggling has been from men, though there have been a few women who really don't like it. But I think with kettlebell coming from like a lot of it coming from like a hard style background, everyone wants it to be like those things. They want to do their swings. They want to do their Turkish get-ups. And I know you don't like Turkish get-ups. We'll talk about it. They want to do their strict presses and their military presses and and that's what they think. So they're being very efficient. And that's cool. If that's what you want to do, fucking do that. I don't care. Right. But also my training is fucking repetitive and so goddamn boring sometimes. I did 10 goddamn sets of bent presses today, and it was boring. So what did I do at the end of it? I did a little flow at the end of it because I wanted to have some fun.
And that's like, if you can do a flow, like let's say you're doing like 3 presses, 3 swings, 3 snatches. Like the thing is like we just, and I say this all the time, we just call flows that we like complexes. Yeah. We just call flows that we like complexes. Like that's what it is, right? Like it's just long. If it's longer.
Flow and complex is, if I like write down it's a complex. If I'm just doing it with vibes, it's a flow.
Right. Or like even with juggling, right? Like you follow I think it's Daniel, right? Coffee Fitness.
Yeah.
Like, are you telling me that when that guy is flipping like a 68 kilo kettlebell and like catching it with one arm like this, like that's not building strength? Like just because you can't,
you're a badass, and like all the other jugglers as well. Like, but also like to do all of that, people like we're posting, like when I post my juggling video, I post a 20 to 40 second video of me juggling. That's because one, I fucking like I make my little flow and I have it to my music or whatever.
Yep.
sync it up. But also like I'm doing boring practice most of the week. So all of the people who are doing juggling are also doing all the prerequisites. You can't just hop in to doing an overhead mill. Like that's not going to happen. And people generally aren't going to do that. Like I know that's the other fear is people like, well, it's dangerous and it's promoting dangerous things. Which is stupid.
Everything also treat adults like children. Like
but like also like a snatch can be really dangerous if you're doing it badly. A swing can be very dangerous if you're doing it badly. Also a friggin' deadlift can be dangerous. So like anything can be dangerous if you're bad enough at it. So I mean I didn't start off juggling. And also when I'm juggling, I personally think my juggling style is very flow. But like when you see Daniel doing his like insane flips or Gavin Twisted Steel cheat meal or Brian BTK Bells when they're doing their like really intense heavy flow juggles, they're not just doing that. Like they have to build to that. That takes like a lot of skill.
Brian is huge. Like Brian's like a tank.
Yeah, he's a freaking strong dude, and it's not like he's just juggling. And even if he is just juggling, clearly it's working.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's the thing that I'm saying is like there are so many ways to get strong. Like so many modalities exist. Like, and that's sort of become my like ethos as time has gone on. Like, I feel like I'm not the best with kettlebells. Like sometimes I mess up my stuff, but I'm decent with them, right? Yeah. Like I've gotten pretty good with sandbags. Like I'm good with a barbell from the CrossFit days. Like I can obviously use a dumbbell. Everybody can use a dumbbell, right? Like I've done calisthenics. I can do muscle ups. I can do handstand push-ups. Right, exactly. I can do handstand walks. It's like there's no reason for me to limit what I have access to in my toolkit, right? Yeah. Like I just got a mace from Caddy Works. I think that's what it's called. You know, the like adjustable ones that you can put the weights on.
Yeah. Is it the CK one?
Yeah, exactly. CK. Okay. And I've put everybody on notice. I was like, give me a month, or give me like 5 months. I'm gonna be doing 100. Like I just like getting good at stuff. And even if my technique sucks at first, it doesn't after a while, you know?
And that's also like the thing, like I have like videos of my first like time I swung a mace and it's not great. I also have the first time I did like kettlebell stuff. And so like when I have clients and I have people who are like, man, you're really good. And I was like, I've done thousands of reps, thousands and thousands of reps of these things to make it that the way that it does. So please don't like compare yourself to your day one to like my day 1,000. Like that's not
really I think people are afraid to like look bad. People are afraid to like try. Like, that's another thing. Sorry.
I look bad all the time. I drop things. I fail. I've been trying to figure out how to do a stupid snatch with the Bulgarian bag. It's garbage. I'm really bad at it. I've hit myself in the face so many times.
I want one of those really bad.
This one I got, it's a Titan one. It was on Amazon and it was like really affordable. It's not like an official Bulgarian bag whatever, but those ones are like $1 million. This one is super affordable. So if you're looking at them,
maybe you'll have to send me the link because I want to get
it. I really like it. And I got my
like I feel like so many people are afraid of. Oh, sorry, did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I got it for my birthday last year.
Oh, cool. When is your birthday?
It's in July. July 24th. It's the same day as Emilio Joubert. But I just give my family like strength stuff to give me for my birthday.
Relatable. I always ask for like strength books and stuff like that. I just like reading them. But going to my point, I feel like people, and like I've seen this when I work with clients, also with the kids that I work with, just in general, people are very afraid of looking bad. And like in the online, like now that everything's online, people are very afraid of like not being proficient at things in like their first or second try. Yeah. Like we almost want to be like, that story, like, oh yeah, like he just picked it up and like figured it out right away. Right. But the thing is like minus, right, exactly. Minus like an exceptional few, that's like not the case. Right. No. And you're a good person if not.
Still have to put work in. like yes, exactly. I know, like, I mean, people are like, man, your bent press or whatever. Like my first bent presses are silly looking. Like
you pressed it and then you like dropped under it, right? You went like
I went under and then I pressed it like a spike press.
Exactly.
But like you're like it takes, and like all of these things are not just like natural things that we're doing, they're skills, and with skills you have to practice to get better at them. It's a thing.
Right. A good example is like, do you know the neuro grips? Like those, like,
yeah, you use them.
Yeah. Like I only just got those like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago. Like my very first time trying them, I fell, like my wrist collapsed and I hit my face. Right.
Yeah.
And now like people are asking me for advice on them. Right. Like, and that's not to say I didn't learn it fast. Like I literally smashed my face the first time. It's just that I'm so willing to fail. Right. Like when I smash my face, I'm like, okay, well, that didn't hurt that bad. Let's do it again. And I'll just practice it for like hours. Right. And so it seems like if you just look at somebody's online feed, it's like, oh my God, like they just figured out neuro grips in like 2 days. But it's like, it took like 8 hours of practice in those 2 days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It takes time. It takes reps. That's all. That's also a thing I say to my clients all the time is like, okay, now we just have to do reps and everything will feel better. Like you're doing all the pieces. We just have to do reps. And that's like the least exciting thing I can tell you as a coach is, but you just got to do the reps now.
Right. Well, that's why, like, even on the Reddit, right, on the subreddit, we talk about the kettlebell Reddit. Like, people post form checks a lot. I used to comment on them a lot, and now, like, I realize I'm like, they just need to do more. Like, they're almost there. They just need to do more. Like me telling them to put their chest up. Like, they honestly just need to do more reps. They'll figure it out themselves.
They'll feel it. You'll feel it, and you'll know it. And that's
right. In my opinion, a form check is for like people who are not kinesthetically gifted in most cases.
I get them a lot for because I do form, like I have like a little thing on my website you can buy like $10.
Yeah, form check.
Like get like a little form thing. And it's usually like it's something you need sometimes like an outside perspective to tell you a thing. Versus yourself seeing it. So like that's helpful, especially for like it's 95% of the time sport people who are giving me who are asking for that, and you just need someone to be like, it's this, like it's maybe something you wouldn't notice because you're not a proficient in this sport. Right. So this is the thing that will help you, and then it's like, oh, now you just have to do it and practice it a whole bunch. I'm really sorry.
That's for sport, right? That's for sport. Like people that are training for a tangible end goal to complete something.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. Like there's even, and I'm sure or maybe you won't, I don't know, but I think you'll agree with this. Like there's also the concept of like good enough that I don't see a lot of people talking about like in online spheres and stuff like that, because everybody's striving for perfection almost. Right. But it's like, I have some clients who I still personally train, right? Who like their swing, if they went to an RKC or if they went to an RKC 1 cert, they get not trash, but like people will talk to them. They're like, hey, like let's fix this. Yeah, and like the swing is like just one small part of their training program or their training paradigm. Yeah. But like when we do add the swing, it's good enough. I'm like, okay, that looks good.
Yeah,
it doesn't look perfect. It doesn't
it's not. You're not gonna get your whatever cert with it. But like if you're doing it and you're safe and you're not hurting yourself, that's always the first thing. It's like you don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to hurt you don't want to like cause injury or whatever. But as long as
the craziest thing, when I tell them they're ready for the next bell or whatever it is, their form fixes itself. Yeah. Like once I had a client, she went from a 16. She went from a 16. She was swinging it. And I told her, I was like, get a 24. You need to get a 24. You're ready for a 24. All of the inefficiency she had in her swing, the moment she swung the 24, boom. It fixed itself.
Perfect. Yeah.
She was too strong.
Because you have to do it. You have to do it sometimes. That's the other thing. You just got to do it. You just got to do the thing.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Miles Morales, Spider-Man?
Yes.
You just got to take the leap of faith. Right?
Yeah,
like sometimes you just have
it's such a good sequence. It's such a stunning visual. I'm so excited for that next movie.
I can't wait for it. Spider-Man is like my favorite superhero, so I'm super excited.
Really, that's so fun. You have so much content. You're one of the lucky ones.
I know. Who's your favorite? Squirrel Girl or something?
I don't know. I just kind of pick and whatever one I like and at the time. Like I don't have like I was never a comic book person growing up. I do really like Spider-Man though. And I've seen like all the Superman movies because my grandpa really loves Superman. Like his whole office was like Superman stuff. So I went to like all the Superman movies with my grandpa. But like I don't really like Superman that much. I like Batman. I like a mean Batman.
You prefer the mean Batman?
I like a Batman who doesn't care so much about justice and really just wants to fuck people up. That's fun for me.
You must have loved Ben Affleck.
Yeah, that was fun. I know everyone didn't like him, but Batfleck was fun for me.
He was a meme for sure. He was definitely a meme.
Because I get like, you know, you gotta justice and whatever, but it's not real life. And like in real life, I wouldn't want somebody who was out there just killing people. But in my movies, sometimes we just gotta kill the Joker.
Yeah, like let's go. Let's take him down.
Sometimes we just gotta kill the Joker so he doesn't fucking create Red Hood. You know, we gotta.
Well, my central conceit, and me and my girlfriend Teresa, we always talk about this, is like Batman is doing the wrong thing by not killing the Joker. Like he's actively not doing the correct thing. Like he needs to do the correct thing.
He needs to kill him. He needs to kill the Joker. I guess the Riddler he didn't have to kill with, you know, Robert Pattinson. But he was a problem.
It was a problem. Like, these people are just, they're like nuts. Like there's not a lot of good things coming out of it. You know,
and I know, you know, it's a mental health problems, but like also they're straight up crazy.
Have you ever seen that argument that like that Batman is like misappropriating his funds? Like he's spending like billions on like his suit when he should be spending on like mental health and like drug like elimination programs and stuff like that. It's actually kind of true.
Yeah, no, he's not a good person, but like if he's not a good person, he just needs to fully lean into that. Let's fucking go for it.
Whereas like Spider-Man's on the opposite end, right? Where like Spider-Man is like, he actively like helps the community.
Yeah, and he's sweet and small and nice, and that's his thing. And he's funny. Batman is not really funny. Sometimes he is in some of the things.
He's funny in like an accidental way a lot of the time.
Yeah, like he's like, you know, dark and sad. But like if you're gonna be dark and sad, you gotta fully go into it.
Right, like, don't give me Twilight. Like I need something a little bit darker and broodier than Twilight, you know?
Yeah, that's why it was fun. That's why I like Batman. Like he was also, speaking of Twilight, I have my Robert Pattinson. This is the Skin of a Killer Bella.
Dude, you're like, your poster setup is like off the chain. Like it's unbelievable.
I have to get this. This is great for an audio visual. This giant kettlebell picture.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's from the Kettlebell Collective. Ian, who runs it, sent it to me. But it's gonna go in that little corner here. But I have to actually hang it, so I haven't gotten there.
We have things to hang that we haven't done it yet. We need to do it.
I can't. I know. I'm just gonna command strip it because that's what I do with everything. But there's like an actual thing to hang, and it's too tall. So I was like, damn it. So I have to like get a drill, which is just not gonna happen. So I have to tell my husband to put a hole in the wall for me because I don't want to.
We had a bookcase. I with Teresa, we ended up setting it up together, and that was an endeavor. Like we were gonna try to command hook it or something like that. I think like we were gonna check.
You're always thinking your drills like this is like super good, but this is all drilled into the wall. My little shelf system here.
Oh, okay.
This is my camera stand. Very professional setup.
Your setup is good though.
Shelves for all the random shit that like it was organized at one point, and I give up. I organize it like every like 3 or 4 months, and then it falls apart somewhere in between there, and it's whatever.
Yeah, my little like apartment gym thing that I have in the other room is. I've got to work hard to like make sure that it doesn't look terrible at all times.
I try to make sure this floor space looks nice for the videos.
Have you ever deep cleaned that? Have you ever deep cleaned the mat?
Yeah, it's gross.
I was gonna say.
I would like to pretend like I mop it on the regular, but it's not a regular occurrence. When I
like a Lululemon mat.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's just me.
I'll do like double like 48 kilo thrusters on like hardwood. Like on hardwood on Lululemon mat, like it's just like not the most advisable thing.
No, and I have these stupid little gym pads, and they're not very good. And I was gonna just buy like stall mats because that's what everyone says to get.
Yeah,
but I don't. These are still working, so
they're also like heavy, right? Like aren't stall mats like wicked heavy?
Yeah, and I'm on the 2nd floor. I'm like I don't know how anyone knows. So this is upstairs. Floor. Yeah.
When you do jerks, think they can hear you downstairs?
It's a 2-story. It's a house.
Oh, okay.
So they definitely can. If my husband or dog is downstairs, they definitely can hear me. So I don't love it. I don't love doing jerks because it sounds aggressive. Also, when I run on my little treadmill, you can hear that as well. And hopefully my neighbors can't hear it because we're attached. But they haven't complained. But their baby cries all the time, and I don't complain, so I guess it evens
Right,
out.
exactly. So it's like a little bit of a peace agreement, like a truce. That old treadmill, when I've seen it, when you've uploaded it, have you heard of the show Run with the Wind? There's like no way that you have.
No, not.
So it's like I feel like you would like it. It's the ultimate good boy anime. So it's about it's about these like group of college students. Believe it or not, it's an anime about college students, not about high school students. And they are all like they live in one house. And there's one kid that's like a legendary, like he's just an insanely good runner. But he's like super Robert Pattinson. Like he's depressed. He's like a Twilight character. And there's this other character that realizes his running talent. And he like ropes everybody into like running this giant marathon called the Hakone Ekiden. It's like, I don't even want to spoil it because if this inspires you to watch, it's like the most inspiring TV show ever.
No, I wrote it down, so I'm going to go find it.
You need to see it. It's called Run with the Wind. I'll send it to you. But one of the characters ends up getting that same exact type of treadmill that you have where you can like roll it down and unfold it. And it's like his awakening to like becoming a good runner. So whenever I see it, I always think of that.
I mostly just was we won, and I say we because my husband was gone for a very long time. We won a fantasy football league, the Big Cash League, and it was his team. But he was gone for 6 weeks, so I had to run the league. It was very stressful. It's the most stressful part of him being gone. I also had to move in that time period without him knowing. Yep. So I was like on the phone with his friends, like, how do I make sure this team works out? Because I'm not.
So you like crowdsource the win.
Yeah. So when we won, we decided to get a treadmill so I could when it's cold outside and I can't go outside. My brain is not a fun place to be, and I can't walk. So. And then he had to train for something where he had to run. So we got a treadmill. Yeah. My fantasy football is, chaos reigns, but I won this year on a non-money league. I got first place, so I guess it works.
No, I mean, I'm impressed because I don't even watch football. I don't even watch football.
No, either. I don't know.
Like I couldn't name like 5 football players. Like I don't know.
I let Patrick Mahomes and one of the brothers who won. I let them lead my team to victory.
Yep. I believe you 100%. I have no clue. Like even when I was a CrossFitter,
I'm yelling at their audio right now, being like, "It's this guy."
I know. No, even when I was like a CrossFitter, like people would be like, "Oh, what do you think of this athlete?" I don't know. I don't watch it. Or like even strongman, like, "Oh, who's your favorite?" I don't know. I don't
watch it. I know the big names. I know like Eddie Hall and like the big strong.
Yeah,
guys.
Exactly. But like even like
I don't know any of the CrossFit names.
Right. What about sport athletes? Do you watch them?
I mean, I do, but it's all on Instagram. So.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
They're not like broadcasting kettlebell sport comps. So it's like
not yet.
I mean, maybe one day, but it's not like a super thrilling sport to watch if you're not in it.
No, but neither is like cyclocross, or not cyclocross. Neither is like long distance biking or anything. Like
no, but people don't really watch that either. So.
That's true. You have to be.
But like my poor husband has come to lots of competitions, and I know
this is him while you're competing.
Well, when I'm competing, he's on it. Watches. So I give him. So when I'm in a competition, I give him a paper that has minute by minute the things he needs to yell at me. My husband's not a yeller. Also, like he's not a person who yells. He apparently he yells at work sometimes, but like he's not like we've never like yelled. I'm the loud, rude, annoying one in this relationship. So like I was like, you have to sit in front of me and I need you to yell these things at me, and he
the cues and stuff. Yeah, that makes
sense. And he does. So I'd be like, okay, minute one.
At least somehow though.
What was that?
I'm sure that keeps it engaging.
Yeah. I mean, if he's like I think if it's people and stuff, and to be fair, there's like 40 of us who are doing sport.
Well, are you MSIC? Is it MSIC in Snatch? Or are you?
I am not international. It's candidate master sport, so it's like CMS.
CMS. You're CMS. Oh, okay.
CMS. So that's what I got. Yeah, I did that in not this house, but basically the same room in the last place we were in before they were like, we're tearing your house down, you have to move.
Right.
And he sat there.
CMS is a big deal. CMS.
Yeah, that was my big thing. I want to do it again a little bit more, but then I got really into bent pressing, and I can't train bent press.
Yeah, it's too much over.
it like not to the capacity like that I would want to do. So that's like why my this year-long program has taken like a year and a half, because I took a month and a half off when I did my comp in December. And then I basically just kind of like fucked off the rest of the month because it was December.
Well, you want to compete in biathlon. You compete in biathlon, right?
I did compete in biathlon. I don't like biathlon. I hate jerks. I hate jerks so much.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I would compete in a sports snatch set. I love snatch.
Yeah, I love snatch is my lift. Like snatch is the lift that I think when you have a sport lifter, like they're probably like a long cycler or a snatcher.
Yeah,
I don't know that anybody's a jerk person. Everyone's
Ben D's, right? Ben D's.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then there's kettlebell jerk, which just says jerks.
Cornell Keurig, right? Cornell, right?
What was that?
Cornell, right? That's his name. It's like Cornell Keurig.
Yeah.
He's got a bunch of tattoos, right?
Yeah. It's the kettlebell jerk.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure his name's Cornell. I think.
Well,
it's weird referring to people. Well, like talking about people who's
this podcast is just a name drop podcast. We've just talked about a lot of people.
That's true. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's the thing that's cool is like there's not really other sources that are talking. Like, everybody consumes this content, right? Like, everybody consumes these creators, but nobody's like has a sort of unifying like thing that brings it all together, right? Like, we haven't even brought up like some of the bigger names, like, Lauren Konsky or like Hunter Krein or like Every Damn Dre, right? Like, we haven't mentioned any of those people. Like, it's got so many silos.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even mentioned Colin during 101, like, who does the best juggling in the world. He's my favorite juggler.
He does.
I think every single one of his juggling flows saved, so I could look at them for inspiration.
I remember the first one of his that I saw. I actually, it struck me. Like, it was one of these moments I was like, this is one of the coolest things I've like ever seen in my life. It was the one where it was the Spartans beat, like the Spartans.
Yeah.
And I remember it was the first time is it called an overhead mill, where you swing it through your leg and you throw it around and then you catch it in front of you?
Oh, that's his. He made that. I'm like 99% sure. I like 95%. I think that's the wolf flip. I think that's his flip.
Oh, the wolf flip. Yeah, you're right. No, you're totally right. Yeah. I remember the first time I saw that, it knocked me on my ass. I was like, I can't believe somebody actually did that.
He's amazing. I love his. He moves.
His build is also like perfect for him. Like, his arms are so long and his hips are so high.
So majestic. Oh, I am obsessed.
The other thing that blew my mind was when he caught it here, right? And then he flipped it to the other rack. I was like, there's no way this guy just flipped the rack to the rack. Like, it's just. I taught a lesson because the kids that I teach, they all learn kettlebell stuff. And I like making it academic because I'm a health teacher. So I teach fitness, general culture, strength culture, but also like cardiovascular, whatever, puberty, blah, blah, blah. One of the lessons that I taught was the history of kettlebell training.
Oh, fun.
And I showed like a video of Valentin Decool, right? Like the power juggler, you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah. Like the old video.
And they were like, even though it's like a video, the guy's barely wearing clothes. They were like obsessed with it. Like, they couldn't get over how cool it was. And then I was like, you guys don't know. I was like, but this is actually still alive, and it's in New York because I teach in New York. And I was like, it's in Brooklyn. And I showed them a couple of videos of Colin, and they were like, their minds were like blown. They were like, this is the coolest thing.
I love that video, that old video of the old power juggler, because it's just like, I'm not like doing anything new. This is not new. My camera's just better than his, and the music is modern. Like, that's all that.
Right. The thing is, and like, this is something going back to the conversation we were having, right? About like people like sort of shitting on juggling and stuff like that. Like, juggling is one of the oldest parts of kettlebell training. Like, if you've ever seen the video from Levi Stark about the history of kettlebell training, like, a lot of people, like, when they started, would literally flip. Like, it makes sense to flip it. It has the center of gravity to flip it. Like, it's natural. It goes like this, right? And then, like, even a lot of, like, circus and strongman people and stuff like that, they came up power juggling. Like, power juggling is, like, an old school thing. And then Russia, it's actually a sport.
Yeah, it is. It's actually part of kettlebell sport now. It got, like, added. Yeah, it got added in, like, 2020. I just had a class last night, and that was my fun fact for my class.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really cool. I was like, actually.
But they do like the overhead, right, where they like spin it like.
Yeah, that's the middle.
Right?
Yeah, it's like it's very yeah, it's like I think you have to have like 30 elements in whatever.
Yeah,
and
it's
you
like
have to do turn. It's all very precise. Yes, that's how it's scored. I don't really do doubles or anything like that because I'm blind as fuck and I can't see the bell. I can't judge the rotation, so I don't know when it happens.
When you're gonna catch it, yeah.
Yeah, I can't see it. I have no depth perception. I've been, it's fun. It makes it extra fun. I also played goalie in soccer. I really just picked the things that are good for.
Yeah, that are like really tough.
Not being, without having depth perception. And so they do like doubles and triples, and like each rotation counts, and like how you catch it if you catch it on the right plane. But it's not as fun for me. I was kind of doing it as like when I first started learning, but I'd much rather just like listen to a song on repeat for 45 minutes and
throw it around,
fit that song. I think my style is more like kettlebell choreo than like anything else. Which is why everyone's like
Daniel are kind of similar in that sense, right? Like Daniel sometimes will just put a song on and he'll just rip it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, except for he's like way stronger than me, and he's still like power juggling, I think, more than like doing flow.
He'll do like a 24, like he's like
flipping around. He's so strong. I love our little corner of juggling people. It's really cool.
Well, I was gonna say, like you said that Colin's the best. I would honestly put it between.
It depends on the style that you're watching.
That's true.
So like I don't think that like Daniel or any of that or anybody could like flow and like move in the way that Colin does, and Colin's the way that I'd like. That's how I juggle, is more similar to style.
Like for me, when I watch Daniel, I'm like flabbergasted. I'm like, this guy just flipped 24 like 5 times.
I gasped out loud. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, like when people say juggling is dangerous, like I believe that how he juggles is dangerous. Like, that guy is like, it looks sick. Like, it's unbelievable.
So sick. It's so freaking cool. And it depends on the style. Like I think that's the thing too, is like there's going to be competition style type jugglers who are going to be good in that style, but probably can do the things that like Daniel or Brian are doing when they're flipping 24, 32, whatever the hell they're doing, and they probably can't move in the way that like Colin or I don't know, myself in there do, and like the mobility like that it takes to do
that's true
behind the backs and the catching and like the moment, like so that it's all, and that's what's cool about it also, is like we're all doing it. And also part of why I like the juggling like community, like how juggling is like we're all like pumped for each other all of the time. Like doing different types of juggling. Like the way I juggle is not the same way that like kettlebell Malabar juggles. But like we're both like, yeah, look at you go.
Right. Yeah, I wish that was a thing more. And like, so I don't know if you know, I'm a mod of the Reddit now. That's relatively recent. Yeah. And like I want to like foster a community that like really cares about like multiple types of training. Because I remember when I started, right? Like that person I was telling you about that would do just like 100 swings, as many presses as I could, push-ups, like just training like a madman, right? Like I went, and you got to realize, like I had an engine, right? I was a CrossFitter. Like I had a 652 2K row. I could run before I tore my knee, I could run a 5K in 18 minutes. My best mile was 5 minutes. Like I had some sick conditioning, right? Yeah. And like I look online, I'm like, oh, popular kettlebell workouts. And the first thing I see is Simple and Sinister. It's like 100 swings and 10 get-ups. And we can talk about get-ups, or we can talk about Simple and Sinister. I make fun of both of them all the time. But like I was like, this is not for me. Like no. I would do it to warm up, like legit. Like when I was really running and doing half marathon type stuff during the height of COVID, when I got into kettlebell training big time, like I would warm up with Simple and Sinister with like 32.
That's impressive though, because you're strong and you have that ability too. I don't think most people can do that, especially because the get-ups take a lot of people a lot to get through.
Have you seen my speed run?
Have I seen your what?
My 32 kilo speed run of Simple and Sinister.
I feel like I have. I feel like I've seen that.
I got 5:24. That was my time. It was 5:24.
I've not. I just get bored doing simple and sinister. I've done like about half of it, and then I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that the fun thing is like I halfway through I'm like, I don't have to do this.
No, it's that. But then I think the reason why like the reason why like I make fun of Get Up so much, like just messing around a lot of the time, or like make fun of simple and sinister, is like it's so often pushed as like the solution, right? So like you'll see people like, oh, I want to get stronger using kettlebells. Oh, simple and sinister. I want to build muscle. Oh, simple and sinister. I want to get more condition. I know, simple and sinister, right? It's like the Leonardo DiCaprio thing, right? But like the truth is, right? It's like a very How do I say what I'm trying to say? It's not going to get most people towards the goals of what they want to get to.
No, right? Unless their goal is to get really good at swings and get-ups. And
it's a specialty template. That's exactly what I'm saying.
If you want to get good at swings and you want to get like make sure your get-ups are good, then fucking do simple and sinister. But if that's not what your goals are, you don't have to do it. It's fine. I think having a get up, like knowing how to do the get up is good. And I think that and like having that ability, because being able to get up off the floor is a skill that people should have, especially because I do coach people who are older, and it's a skill. It's a skill you need to have. And not that people are getting up like that, but getting up off of the floor is a skill. And but like it's not like you don't have to do it like with weight, with it's just learning how to do that movement, and if it benefits you, it benefits you. Like for me, it benefits a lot of my stuff. It benefits my bench press. It benefits my bench press.
It's like an assistance exercise. Like it's like a supplement to a program, and for some reason like it's become like a main lift for.
I mean, it can be a main lift, I think, because it's a full body strength grind.
Oh,
I see your face. I see your face.
We're about to tussle.
I think it
I think it can.
But like it doesn't. But like it might. But it's probably not the lift for everyone to have, and it's really funny that that's the lift that everyone has latched onto. Right. All the time.
I think for me, it's. I hate saying efficiency because I'm a big like anti-optimal person. Like I hate it when people say the most optimal results for anything and stuff like that. But like I find the get up for most people's training goals like so irrelevant to their training goals. That, like it feels suboptimal in a way that I'm like, why are you spending your time doing this? Like.
And like if that's what if it doesn't fit their goals or whatever, it's not. Right. Get it out
and
of
if
there.
You want to get up a 48, like go ahead, rip at it. Like I'm proud of you. Go ahead, right? But it just confuses me.
And the people that you work with, it's not the thing, and that's totally fair. Like
most people just need to clean and press and squat.
I presses a lot, and I work with people who need to be able to get up off of a floor and like have that skill. So for me, it's a good lift to have, and for me personally, it's a good lift because I use it. I don't tend to go super heavy with it, but I use it a lot for my warm ups, for my bench press day, for my heavy day, and I use look at the barbell, just to like get everything.
And I think also
a good compliment to the bench press.
Right.
So
it's also helpful for like circus press, like for the dumbbell, right? Like the way that you catch the circus bell is like kind of like this. It's almost like a bench press position.
Yeah, you can catch it.
Yeah, that's one way you can do it. When I got strong enough, I started catching it directly overhead. But when I do really heavy weights, boom, I catch it like that. And doing get-ups, like I did something
helpful, which is in the Turkish get-up.
Yeah, and that's a niche case, right? Like, or even windmills, right? Like stabilizing your shoulder and learning how to stand it up. That's literally breaking down, and that's helpful, right? I just don't understand it being the number one thing that like everybody says.
Be the number one like thing that everyone recommends. Also because it's not like an easy thing to do. So like when they like the show on Reddit, like it's always something people recommend, and I'm like, man, they have to like learn a lot before you can do, because basically what it is it's a roll up, it's a sit up, it's
exercise.
It's a bridge, which is not super easy for a lot of people. You have to swoop your leg underneath. You have to do an overhead lunge, and then twice, because you have to reverse the up and back, and then you have to windmill twice in there. And those are all things that people who are just like new into lifting or new into kettlebell probably
they can't do it proficiently.
and not to the volume that you need to do for a simple and center stir.
And then even honestly, like getting to the heart of it, the thing that really pisses me off about it, right, is when people can't do the get up.
Yeah.
The number one thing they say, oh, this is Vaseline, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta
use water. Like use a cup of water. Like that how is that strength? Like, okay, yeah, it's technique training, but like this is somebody that wants to put on muscle and get stronger, and you're actively having them do unweighted movement. That's fine. Like, but why not just advise them?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, it's like, it's fine. Like if you're coaching, if you want to, if you're coaching the movement, but like if you're trying to become if your goal is not to get better at the Turkish get up, then fine. Like, cause I use the shoe one, you know, when I have clients who are learning to get up so they can learn where to keep their arm, which is a very
stuff too.
Yeah. But their goal is to do the Turkish get up good. Like that's their goal. Exactly. That's what they're working on.
Right.
But if like, you know, she was working on something else, or you know, we wouldn't do that because it wouldn't be effective for her training program.
Exactly. But even with that being a goal, it's like if somebody also has a tertiary goal of putting on muscle and stuff, like it's not the right, like to say, okay, like, yeah, sure, do it with the water, but also do like 5x5 push-ups, or do like 3x5 like press. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to build the related muscles for it to work.
Yeah, you can't just do it. You gotta build the muscles up too. Yeah, it's a lot.
Like ever since I was able to single arm press the 48, like doing get-ups with the 48 is like super easy, or not super, but it's like way easier for me because my arm is like used to that. Like I can just lock it out.
Used to holding and maintaining that amount of weight, because that's my get-up PR is limited by holding the weight for that long.
I find that extremely scary. Like I do a lot of stupid stuff, but like the get up, like this position, I hate it. It's very scary for me.
Yeah, no, it's not super fun. It's a little bit sketchy because you're over here and you're just like, because at least with my like bent press, it's very easy to fail out of a bent press, and that's all another thing is people don't know how to fail out of these big like grindy movements, and that's like very scary.
I've broken my wrist doing a get up before.
Yes, I mean, now I get your vendetta against get ups, but like with a with a get up, like there are parts where like if you fail, you are very likely going to have a bell somewhere on you, and like if you're not prepared for that, like if you're doing that first sit up, you can drop it out to the side, but maybe it might drop across your body, and that's not comfortable. But with like a bent press, which is also like a grind, I guess, you drop it off the back, drop it off the front, depending on where the fuck.
Well, that's how I broke it. That's how I broke it. I was coming down from a 48 kilo get up, right? And as I was rolling onto my elbow, it got like really dusty or something, because the gym I used to work out at had like a door that would open and bring in like a bunch of dust from construction. And so like I coughed or sneezed or something. I like lost tension, right? I lost tension. And so my elbow like dropped to the floor, and I lost it here. I lost it here. And I had this moment where like it started to crash, and I was like, I can either take it to the chest or I can catch it with my arm. So I caught it with my arm, and then my wrist bent back. I mean, I still worked out. Like it didn't mess up my workout or anything like that, but it just hurt. And now I have like a
that was what I was concerned about when you said that you broke your wrist. I was like, man, I hope he finished his training session.
I did. It hurt. I was like, ow. And then I just like kept working out. But I'm 25 and I train like it. Whenever people give me like form advice and they come at me with good faith and like DMs and stuff like that on Instagram or on Reddit or something like that, like at the end of the day, I'll be like, yes, I agree. This is not the safest technique. I'm 25. I train like it. Like when I'm 35, sure, maybe my arm will hurt, and
I'll be a little smarter on it once I get there.
Until then, let me train how I do, okay? But also the biggest thing, and I know that we're running out of time. I can see what's going on.
I know you got life to do.
For sure, I'm actually getting really hungry. But the thing that I was gonna say was like, I have arthritis in my knee, right? The one that had surgery. And even though it hurts sometimes, like my mobility, and it's not necessarily as good as it used to be, like it literally doesn't stop me from doing anything. Like, yeah, okay, it hurts sometimes. And sometimes it hurts relatively bad, but like pain is just such a part of life. And I don't know if other people accept it and other people don't, but like I'm somebody that feels very comfortable with being in pain, right? Like when my knee hurts, I'm like, oh, well, there you go. Like, just gotta wait it out. You know what I'm saying? My shoulder was hurting really bad after my strongman competition because I pushed the circus press. I got second place. I pushed it to the max. Like I did a rep that I shouldn't have. My shoulder was hurting really bad. And I was like, well, shoulder hurts. Time to figure out how to train with my shoulder hurting. right? Like I'm not necessarily somebody that's like, oh God, you know, like the world's over, like I hurt myself.
You know, I train around it too. Like that's like when I've tweaked things. So it's like because one of the injuries I've had is I dropped when I was doing jerks, which is why I hate biathlon. I dropped the bell on my shoulder at like minute 8. No, but it fucked it up. It hurt, and I never went to a doctor because I don't have insurance.
The life of a trainer, right?
But I finished the fucking set. I felt like I was gonna puke. But my shoulder was tweaky for a while, and like also my mobility is still like a little bit different on that side. But I had to do like I still have to do other stuff. Like I still need to work and train and live my life. So you just work around it. And you make it
like
work.
It's crazy, right? Like, oh my God, like injury didn't make your life.
I don't recommend training injured, but like there are ways to work around injuries that like isn't like stopping.
And then also another thing
for liability purposes, don't train if you break your wrist during a Turkish get up, everyone.
And I wouldn't recommend that everybody do that. I was like whatever, let's just keep
going. I know. I feel like I should put a liability in there just so I don't
just let people know. But also, and I think that's the final comment that I have on this before we do part our ways is like pain and injury are separate things, and like learning the difference is like such a
pain, injury, and like muscle burn is also a thing. Like what a grind feels like, and what like that hurts feels like, and like what like that's fucked up feels like.
Well, I'm sure let me not belabor the point too much, but I'm sure that you've heard it from like clients, like, oh, like I think I hurt my back, right? After they do like deadlifts for the first time. Like, no, you.
Yeah, I actually don't work with a lot of people.
You're sore, brother. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
People like feeling out, like, and like, okay, well, that means that you weren't doing this, and like we just use it as a learning. Okay, well, if your back hurts, that means we're not bracing properly. Oh, if this hurts, that means this, and like it's a teaching moment. That's all it is. Like that's how when I tweak things, like bent pressing, like when I'm doing heavy stuff, it's like, okay, the next day, like, oh my God, this feels off. It's like, all right, this because I wasn't doing a thing that I know I should be doing.
And then like 5 days later, 6 days later, it's like, oh, this like 90% better.
It's fine. I just have to be smart for like 2 days, and then it usually works itself out. I'm not but I still kind of train. You know, I still work around it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like as somebody that had a catastrophic injury, trust me, you know when you have one. Like,
it's pretty apparent. If you hurt yourself, injure yourself, you'll know. The difference between breaking your hand and tearing a blister, it's a different vibe entirely. Okay, so we both need to eat dinner. But let's how do people find you so they can so because we actually introduced you. I'll add it at the top. We just started talking.
It's weird introducing yourself like on Reddit first, but on Reddit, you can find like 99% on the Reddit, the kettlebell Reddit. So it's intelligent_sweet 587. And then on Instagram, which is where I post, I'm trying to up my game, post more informative content there. It's 720 Emilio. 720 Emilio. If you're interested in my training services, 720strength.com. 720strength.com. Written as numbers.
We'll have all this linked in the description so people can find you. And if people want to work with you or chat with you, you're awesome on all of the places. Like I said, this is really just a huge excuse to talk to people that I have been talking to and friends for years, but have never actually seen their face in real time.
I know. I was thinking that. I was like, man, I've seen her like with her hair tied back and like giving an instructional video, but I've never talked.
We've never had like a conversation or unless it's like over like most of my like friends on like the internet, we have lots of like voice messages back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
And like sometimes videos, but that's not the same as like a conversation. And this is fun. I'll probably have you back because there's lots of things we like didn't even get to talk about because we